you ready for this?
Gonna be fun.
You will not stand in my way.
Frostborn, hunger. This pleases me.
I do not fear you, mortal.
Your soul shall be mine.
Don't make me laugh.
Needs a brew?
Oh, I do.
Feel a shredding, baby. Let the battle begin.
So hello and welcome to the 10th episode of Trollin HGC, a Heroes of the Storm podcast focused on esports, a member of the Trolls.gg podcast network. I'm your host, LiQuid, and I'm joined today, as usual, by Bahgz, who's back from his crazy couple days of work. How's it going, man?
What up, what up?
Episode 10, dude. Like, it's hard to believe it's been that long since we started this show, and that short. Like, it all kind of, you know what I mean?
It's, no, that's a good way to put it. It's like, time has flown by, and so it's like, we piled up a bunch of episodes real quick, but at the same time, it feels like so long ago that we were talking about starting this.
Right. No, but it's a fun show, and I think right about episode 25, we're going to be at BlizzCon. I might have to map that out, but that could be cool, like an episode 25 while we're at BlizzCon, and just do like a special episode or something. So I'll have to check that out later. But let's jump right into the show. But before we do that, let's thank our Patreons over at patreon.com/trollsgg. It is shared with the Nexus Trolls. The show will always be free, but if you're looking for a way to support us, you know, head on over there. All of the money we get from Patreon or from cheering or from subbing on Twitch, all of that's going to go into buying things at BlizzCon to hand out to you guys, our faithful listeners and watchers. So check it out if you can. We also have a new troll of the week this week. I don't know if you ever got a chance to meet Shiz Bahgz, but Shiz, go ahead.
I didn't. I was gonna say I didn't, but he was an original member of the Nexus Trolls, wasn't he?
Yes, he absolutely was, and used to be on my chair league team as well. So good guy. He is our troll of the week, and I don't know. The other thing I was gonna say is I don't know if you've been paying attention to the leaderboard on the HGC cheering, but he is number 6 on that leaderboard overall right now. Yeah, dude.
What?
He's number 6.
I didn't put 2 and 2 together there. I did look at the leaderboard.
That is him.
A lot of cheering.
Yeah, so he goes by XCratersX on Twitch, and that is him on the leaderboard at number 6, and only down by like 100 bits. So yeah, he's up there, man. It's crazy, but he's up there.
That is crazy. My goodness. I thought I was cool. I $20 worth of bits towards Team Freedom, and that was what I've done so far. And now I feel like I feel tiny.
No, man, no. See, that's the thing, right? Like, you can't feel tiny. Like, the point to the cheering system, as much as I still disagree with cheering being the way that we have to do this, I would rather just cut out Twitch as a whole if I could.
Yeah.
You can't look at it that way, right? The way you have to look at it ultimately is that you're just trying to support your team. So I threw a bit to every team because I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to 1 bit to everybody. Like, all 32 teams got a bit for me. And then I started and I went and I was like, all right, now the teams I want to support, I want the portrait and I want the Twitch emote. So I went and I did like 350 to Fnatic, so I got their thing, to GFE, same way. I did 100 to EID to get a portrait. Because I was like, you know what? All the NA teams, I want to have the portraits. And then the teams I really like, I want to have at least the Twitch emote. The base Twitch emote, so at least I can use that Twitch emote, right? So, like Roll20, I got that. And then I'll probably buy some more bits this week and maybe throw a little bit more bits at them during Eastern Clash. But I haven't actually sat down to do it yet. But I that's the plan. I probably will. So
here's a question for you.
Yep.
Now that we have this system in place, what's your? I mean, I think I already know, but who's your favorite team? Do you have a favorite team, or are you professional about this as a podcaster and you don't play favorites?
No, so I don't necessarily have a favorite team, and I feel like the reason behind that isn't necessarily that I'm a podcaster. I'm trying not to play the favorites, although it definitely gives me that advantage, right? Because I'm like, well, I just don't have a favorite team. But when you watch all of the teams play, like, I feel like I take a more analytical approach to it, and I'm like, Fnatic's on top of the world right now. They're not my favorite team. I love Breeze. Breeze is probably my second favorite EU Warriors, second only to BKB. Only because my boy BKB is like, he's a cool dude. But Breeze clearly has the skill level to be the #1 warrior EU. So I'm not trying to say he's not. But like, just I watch so many games, it's hard to have a favorite. If I had to say, like, if you were like gun to your head, you have to pick a favorite team, it would be GFE or Roll20.
Okay. But
even there, it's like, I love what Glaurung can do with Roll20, and I want to see them succeed, right? It's not specifically something along the lines of, like, I don't love the team, but I like what they can do with the team. Like, so it's not, it's hard to explain, right? Like, the same is true with GFE. I love Fan. I love Udall. I'm a good fan of Caffeine, right? The same is true, like I feel weird because I'm not like, oh, Tempo Storm is the greatest, but I only like June and Fury on Tempo Storm. Cawthon's a cool dude. Caterpillar, I don't know, something about Caterpillar and I just never quite got along. But I don't know what it is. Like, there's nothing specific, right? It's not like I'm like, this is why I don't like Caterpillar. I don't know. It's just the way I am. And Psalm is always, I always felt like Psalm, even way back in the Murloc Geniuses days, like Psalm was just kind of the outsider looking in and just kind of like fell into that position. I don't know. So it's weird, right? Like, I struggle saying this is my favorite team specifically for those reasons. But like, I'm sitting here thinking about it. If you ask me who my favorite soccer team is, I could tell you. If you ask me who my favorite football team is, I could tell you. Those are really the only two sports that I follow a little bit. Okay. But I don't have that same connection. And you know what? I think this comes back to what we talked to Trent about a couple weeks ago. There's no connection there. Like, my favorite football team is my favorite football team because I've loved them for like 15 years. My favorite soccer team is because when I started like really, really following soccer, it was my local soccer team, and I went and watched their games live, right? Like, I don't have that option. I can't just be like, yo, I'm going to go watch a Roll20 game live this weekend, man. Like, you know what I mean?
That is it's funny you say that. That's the reason why I think the Overwatch League is going to be, they're taking a big risk, but I think that's going to be successful for that reason. I think the localization is huge.
Right, and I think that might be part of what's missing. So it's a struggle for me to pick a favorite team. I like a lot of the NA teams. I'm not going to lie, I'm not a huge fan of Team Freedom. That's nothing against Team Freedom, I'm just not.
They're very vanilla. I get it. They don't really do anything too flashy.
Right, and I have no connection to those guys. So it's like, it's hard, for me to say, yeah, man, I totally love this team. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. Who's yours?
NA Team Freedom, EU Team Dignitas. Team Freedom, like, coming into the NA season, like, my favorite team of all time was the original Tempo Storm, the one with Dread on it, Soldier, KO. Yep. Zuna, or when Glaurung was on the team. Anyways, I loved that team, Arthalon. And then they kind of they flamed into a fiery pile of crap. They fell apart there at the end of BlizzCon 2015, and then I kind of like went through 2016 without a favorite team.
Okay.
I followed Cloud9 until they kind of fell apart too, but I didn't really have a favorite team. And then when they opened up the HGC, Team Freedom kind of came together, and I really didn't. The first couple of weeks, I didn't really have a favorite team, and then I was like, well, I kind of like this Team Freedom team. They're kind of like these similar to Team 8. They're like these dark horses that are kind of outperforming the old Vanguard, I guess you would say, teams like Naventic and Superstars. So I looked them up, and I wanted to see what the org was all about. And when I found out that they donate a portion of their winnings to charity, I don't know what charity, the website doesn't really say, but I really, like, that was something I really could connect to. It's not really an org, I don't know if it's a not-for-profit or not, but it's just, the org is actually owned by esports.us, which is just a company that's trying to promote esports in America, obviously.
Right.
So, they have a Dota 2 team, they have an HGC team, and again, they donate a portion of the proceeds that they get from winning stuff to charities, which I liked. I thought that was really nice. So, Team Freedom, man, America.
It is. I will say that is huge, right? The fact that they're giving away a portion of any of their winnings is a big deal, and that's awesome, right? Team 8, I felt connected to Team 8, which is now Roll20, in with the whole how they came into the scene.
No doubt, because
right?
of their story, they're my second favorite team because they
Yes.
have that.
But at this point, it almost feels like that story has kind of died a little bit. And I don't know how much of that is because they're like, oh, we've done roster changes. Now we're sponsored by Roll20. Now, you know, like, I don't know. It's weird. It's I don't know, man.
Well, it's the thing is with like the stories like that. So like, we're gonna use a sports ball comparison.
Yep.
When the Rams and Kurt Warner came from bagging groceries, became like the greatest show on turf. They went from like they were the underdogs at that first season, and they came out of nowheres, and like everyone loved them.
Yeah.
And then a couple of years later, next thing you know, they're the favorites, and like they're this dominant team, and they don't have that. The fan like fervor, I guess you would say, is not quite the same format because they lose that luster very quickly.
Right.
And like and at the time, that's when Tom Brady came out of nowhere, replacing Drew Bledsoe on that 2001 Patriots, and they were like the underdog story that could. And now here we are 17 years later, and no one really likes the Patriots because it's boring.
Right.
So they're, you know what it is, it's just that's what it is. They're losing their luster. It's like, well, it was nice, but now they're sponsored, they're expected to do well. They didn't make the Clash, so it kind of loses that that excitement, I guess.
Exactly. And that, you know what? I think that's what I'm talking about, right? Like that is exactly kind of how I feel. Like that desire to follow them is just gone now. Which is a bummer, honestly. But
it's all right. We just need Even in Death to make a major comeback in the second half of HGC.
There you go.
And we'll have a new team to latch on to.
There you go.
The underdog story.
Yeah, let's do that. I like that plan. Let's do that. All right. Let's jump into a little bit of news. Not a huge amount to cover this week in the news section, but yet again, eStar having visa issues. They're not going to Eastern Clash.
It's so depressing. It's always with China. It's one of their teams. I was talking to Guaz about this, and I don't understand why. I'm not that, I guess, a political aficionado.
Yeah, okay.
But it's depressing, man. So now they're being replaced by a Taiwanese team, and it's just like, it's like they're going from China to Taiwan. It's not even like, I mean, I guess the geolocation of it doesn't really matter, but it's not like they're going very far.
Right. No, and but it's Taiwan, right? And like Chinese and Taiwan have always had this like,
yeah, they don't get along, right?
But at the same time, you would think that would be like easily visaed, right? Like it's weird. I don't know. And see, I agree with Ogre because I'm thinking back. It's always eStar that has this problem. So maybe it's a member of eStar, but I think the roster's changed.
The roster, it's basically the former X team,
right?
Plus like two other guys. So because most of those guys are now playing like King of Samsung Galaxy S7 or whatever the heck it's called. You know. It's
right.
True, though.
No, but you're right. The team that couldn't go to BlizzCon was a completely different team than they have now. I'm looking at it on Master League right now, and it's like that team is completely changed from the team that could not make it to
and
BlizzCon.
then the team that couldn't make the midseason brawls was CE, and now CE is going to Taiwan. Which,
you're right.
I guess
it was CE, wasn't it, for midseason brawl?
Yeah, but no, it was eStar that couldn't go to BlizzCon. It was like in 2015 or something like that.
Right.
And I think they had issues with other international events as well. So it's always an issue with one of the Chinese teams. You never can seem to get them all, and it's frustrating. So.
Well, like, good on Soul Torturers for going, but like, let's be honest. I mean, I wanted to see eStar. I think that was going to be their time to beat SPT, CE, and possibly even MVP Black. Although I'm sure Bacon is rolling his eyes right now in spirit because I said MVP Black is not going to win. But, you know, it is what it is, and unfortunately, we're stuck without having them, which is kind of a bummer, man. I was really wishing they'd get to play.
It just, I don't know, it feels like it takes away from the event, right? Like it could have been a more competitive event.
Right.
Not saying it won't be, but
it could have been.
There's always that what if, right?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And then we had a little bit of Rosterpocalypse going on from ANZ.
Now this is depressing.
Well, so Arcaner had announced that he was leaving Nomia at the end of Western Clash to move to the UK and try to find an Open Division EU team and make it on to HGC EU in 2018. He did that. Robodoba also said he was going to leave Nomia. At the time, he did not say anything other than he was going to leave Nomia. And now we know that Robodoba has left Nomia and has joined Darksided. And you might be asking, well, wait, Darksided has competed before. How do they have room for Robodoba? Well, that's because they just decided to kick Vikarak right off the team. So I'm sure, the way this came out is Arcaner said, I'm out. I'm letting you guys know I'm leaving after this tournament. Robodoba's like, well, shit, if he's leaving, I'm out. And Darksided's like, oh, Robodoba's available? Let's kick this dude and pick up Robodoba. That can help us. The rest of Nomia, as I understand it, is actually staying together. And they're going to pick up 2 more players. But I haven't seen who they're picking up yet. If you know or you hear anything, drop us a line, hit us on Twitter, hit us on our Discord, hit us anywhere you want to hit us up. Hit us up. I'd love to know more about what's happening in the ANZ region because, you know, minor
information besides like tweets from the players, right?
Right. And minor regions don't get that much coverage in the major regions, and you know, that's one of the things I want to try and fix. So hit us up, man. We're you know, let us know.
We have no issue sharing it. It's kind of depressing to me when I heard about this, and I talked to Guaz about it earlier when we recorded the Weekly Blizz. Is like, so Jay Shreet is staying with Red Canids, and that team's staying together until after BlizzCon because they're confident they're going to make BlizzCon, you know. And they'll get that little bit, they get the trip to go to BlizzCon, they get that BlizzCon money,
right?
And it just would make sense to me, anyways, that for Arcaner to do the same thing is just stay with Nomia, go to BlizzCon. They're the best team in ANZ. I mean, Darkseid has made it more competitive, but for the most part, they are the best team in ANZ. They're pretty much, I mean, we all would have figured they'd be going to BlizzCon anyways.
So I have... All right, go ahead. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, go to BlizzCon, get that BlizzCon money, and then after that, leave the team, and then during the free agency period, try and get picked up by one of the EU teams.
I have my tinfoil hat on why he chose not to do this and why Jay Street is choosing to do it that way. Okay. Because if you read a lot of the Jay Street stuff, he says they still haven't been paid for like a year's worth of winnings. So I don't think Jay Street's waiting till after BlizzCon is the money they'll get for going to BlizzCon. I think it's he understands that to find and integrate with a good NA Open Division team, doing it now isn't going to cut it. He needs to do it right after BlizzCon when it's new Open Division teams for the best chance to get in, right?
Or just get picked up by an HGC team right off the bat, right?
Or that, right? Where Arcaner's like, yo, have you seen EU Open Division? If I can get on one of those teams, like, we got a shot, man. Let's do this. Because, right, we've talked about this. If you look at EU as a whole, like, the quality of HOTS players in EU overall, like, the pool is larger, right?
Yeah, the talent pool is much deeper.
Right. So you know, Arcaner has a good chance going to the UK to find a team and have a chance to win enough Open Cups to hit Crucible at the end of the year and possibly qualify for 2018 HGC.
The other side of that coin, though, is if you think about it, it's going to be harder and harder to make it into the EU HGC for that same reason, though, right?
Yeah, but I mean, like, let's be honest, okay? They didn't win, but, like, who's going to say, oh, you've been to, like, 4 HGC LAN events? Yeah, we don't want you on our team.
No,
right?
What I mean is, like, because it's just the...
It'll be tougher to win.
Top 2 in the EU Open Division playoffs. It'll be tougher to crack the EU HGC.
Right.
Because the initial bottom rung teams got knocked out already and were replaced by better teams. So now it's looking like Playing Ducks is the worst team, and they were like mid-tier in that very first half. So I just imagine it's just the competition, even though the talent
right. The competition's harder. But again, I mean, like, you're bringing someone that's been to HGC LANs multiple times. This is not like his first rodeo, right? The dude's gone to HGC LANs God knows how many times, right? So, in fact...
phenomenal player. No doubt he's going to latch on to something.
Right. So, like, I feel like I think both of them are actually doing this correctly. The They're both trying to get out of their minor regions. I think now was actually a good time for Arcaner because he does have a chance of, no guarantees, but he has a chance of hitting a 2018 HGC team. Where,
and for what it's worth, this is the guy that was forced with the ultimatum to either drop out of school or continue, going down the hero's dream, and he chose the hero's dream. So,
and now, I mean, this is the next logical step to that, right?
Dude's all in, right?
Yeah. So, good luck to all of them. Obviously, I want to see ANZ continue to flourish. I also want to see Arcaner, find his way and onto an HGC proper team where he gets that salary and can say, look, you know what? My decision to leave school was right. I've made it. We're doing these things. And, and best of luck to all three of them. Vikarak included, trying to find a new team now after getting booted. Hell, maybe he'll go over to Nomia. They're looking for two, man.
It could happen.
Weirder things have happened. All right. Let's jump into some results, shall we?
Let's do it.
Western Clash. I watched almost all the games. I will be honest with our viewers. I skipped the last two of the grand final because, let's be honest, there was no question that Fnatic was going to continue to roll over everybody. So I was like, you know what? I've already seen Fnatic beat Expert once. I don't need to watch part 2 the whole way. And it was, oh man, it was a huge amount of games. Hold on, let me grab that real quick. I actually had the amount of games it was. It was 43 games played. I skipped 2 out of 43. I watched 41 out of 43 games. I think I did just fine. Right? It is what it is. But I did skip a couple games. So, Fnatic basically won it all. I don't think anybody was surprised when they started watching. Team Expert finishing second. I actually had LiQuiud to finish above Expert there.
That would have been my guess as well. I did not expect Team Expert to come in second place, and they did so convincingly.
I also had Freedom winning out over GFE, who ended up finishing in number 4. So, my top 3 from NA went Freedom, Tempo Storm, GFE. So that surprised me as well.
Personally, we didn't get it, but what I would have liked to have seen is I would have liked to have seen GFE play Team Freedom. So I feel like GFE had a little bit of an easier path as far as getting to 4th place because they faced Tempo Storm in the losers bracket. Yeah. Where Freedom had to face LiQuiud, and Freedom had at least a better. They went to full 5 with LiQuiud. I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, GFE only went 4.
I think that's correct. Yes, that certainly sounds like I remember it happening. So yeah. But what'd you think overall? What did you think?
So I have 2 thoughts. I thought it was an exceptional tournament as far as entertainment wise.
Yep.
Excuse me. All right.
Don't die, man. Don't die.
I'm trying. I'm trying to stay positive and not die over here. But I have 2 complaints. I guess they were having some production issues on that very first day.
Yes.
Where there was a lot of pauses and there was a lot of downtime in between matches, and it felt like a step back from the mid-season brawl in that respect.
Yes.
But overall, it's always nice to get these international events, and it was a lot of fun to watch and see these teams play each other. They don't normally play each other.
Wait, hold on. I want to add something to that now real quick, though.
Go for it.
So the technical issues actually allowed me to sleep in Friday morning. Because I didn't miss any games.
Yeah.
And they hadn't even started game 1, and I flipped it on. I'm like, wait, what?
What's going on?
What?
And it's a bad look when they have to restart an entire draft. That's I feel like it's a bad look,
Well, no, it totally is. I completely agree with you. But then at the same time, I'm like, well, they don't run the venue or the machines. So it's
no, you're right. So, I keep referencing it, but this is another thing I talked to Guaz about. It's for what it's worth, is it really their fault, or is it the venue and where they're at and how they produce it, right? So that's the other thing you have to think about. So,
but think about it, right? The typical viewer doesn't care. All the typical viewer knows is the Heroes of the Storm tournament I'm trying to watch is having issues.
Yeah, it's running pretty poorly. I'm going to go do something else with my time.
Right.
And it was a bad time for that to happen because the international's going on. It was just, there was a lot of other competition. I saw someone tweet, I think it was it was one of the writers for Team LiQuiud. I tweeted this out, and he mentioned like there's a lot of like esports competition on Twitch right now, and like Heroes is struggling with the production. It's not a good time to be struggling.
Right.
So
right.
That being said, it was a really great tournament.
No, absolutely, right? If you could get past the technical issues we had in that tournament, I think it was good. So we linked in our show notes, we linked the Western Clash stats that Master League always puts out at the end on Reddit. And we linked out Dignitas's infograph, which is kind of just another interesting way of looking at the various stats. But the thing that like jumped off the page every time I looked at it, Breeze with just a monster KDA of 118. Like, what?
Literally didn't. The only person in the tournament to not die.
No, he died one time.
Did he?
One time against Red Canids. One time. He was alive. 99.8% of the games he was in, he was alive. One time. Then and to give you a little bit of frame of reference, the next highest KDA, which again is really high, is Quacknix with a 29.5. So you have Breeze sitting at 118, and the second place KDA is 29.5. Like, dude, like what? I
just looking over the, like all this infographic and all the little stats. It's just you see how dominant Fnatic was. I mean,
right? Well, it's like the team KDA. Okay, all right. So the team KDA is usually pretty close between the top couple teams. Fnatic's got a 4.9 and Team LiQuiud's got a 1.2 in second place. That's more than 4 times the
Almost
second
5,
place
yeah.
team, right? It's like, what? Like Fnatic was.
They went
just
through the whole tournament. They didn't even drop a map. It's just they are, as far as like comparing them to the rest of the playing field, they are on another plane of existence.
Right. I think Bakery said it best on Town Hall Heroes tonight. He's like, they are tier S, and every other team is like tier 2 to 3. Like, that's how far above they were.
They are 2 tiers away.
Two tiers away, right? And it's just like, what? And so you have to ask yourself, like, what is? Well, you know what? We'll talk about that part later, because there's so much to talk about with them. But all right, so 53 out of 69 heroes were picked. That's pretty good in my opinion. 53 heroes involved in this tournament. That's a lot of different heroes. That's
solid, and it's not as big a tournament as, like, say, the mid-season brawl where there's more games being played. So
right.
It says a lot for the stability of the, I guess, the game that Blizzard has built, that you can pick that many different heroes in a meta.
Well, like there were 43 games played and there were 53 heroes picked.
That's good. It's a good thing when it's not the same, like, 10 to 15 heroes over and over and over.
I mean, there was a lot of that. The most popular heroes being Dahaka, Uther, Ariel, and Anubarak, right? So they were there a lot. Most popular bans, of course, Ariel, Tassadar, Uther, and Genji. And I like the top first picks, Uther and Tassadar. I'm not surprised by that at all. But the one thing that made me happy, like happier than anything else, the best win rates were Medivh at 7-0, Falstad at 6-0, and then my good friend ETC not in pasture anymore, had an 8-2 win rate.
Working his way back into the professional scene, huh?
Dude. Now, yeah, it should be said that Breeze had a lot to do with that, because that man knows how to play a cow. Yeah, it was. I don't know. Did any of the other stats like jump out at you that you want to go over a little bit?
Not off the top of my head, that I can pick out.
There were some. I mean, like quickest game was 6:53.
That was exciting. I like that was crazy. That was Team Freedom and LiQuiud, like, just full on. We're going straight for the core. Forget everything else. And whoever finishes the base race first gets to continue on in this tournament, and whoever loses the base race goes home.
Right.
You would never expect that, right? For with so much on the line, you would never expect that kind of game.
That was kind of crazy what happened there.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm just looking to see if anything else was like jumped right out. Clash victory, longest, highest damage, highest siege. That wasn't quickest keep kill, 2 minutes. That's right. Nomia against GFE, 2 minutes and a keep kill. I remember that game. That was a good game.
Yeah.
What else? See if there's anything else that was like, oh man, you're right. That was crazy. Oh, map popularity. That was a good one. So that shifted a little bit. Cursed Hollow, Towers of Doom, Infernal Shrines all picked the same amount. Tomb of the Spider Queen was next. Sky Temple wasn't picked that often, and BOE was not picked that often. Neither was Dragonshire. So, like, some of the more staple maps that we used to see more frequently, have slowed down.
I'm just glad that Warhead Junction made it onto the leaderboard at all. So
there was a game,
as far as I'm concerned.
There was a game played there. Cool.
It lasted 6 minutes and 53 seconds.
It was not a very long game. All right. Well, let's jump into some preview. Talk about Eastern Clash and what's coming up. I did promise. So Bacon was supposed to join us tonight, but was not able to. But he did make me promise that I would say MVP Black is going to win it all. That is Bacon's prediction. So Bacon, there you go, man. I've said it. MVP Black will win it all for Bacon. But we have first round matches up. That's really all we have right now because obviously, you know, winners move on, losers go down. MVP Black versus Deadly Kitten. Do you have a pick in this match?
MVP Black.
All right. I think I honestly don't think anybody would pick Deadly Kittens. Now, that's not to say Deadly Kittens is bad, but like that'd be like picking Nomia over Fnatic. Like it's just not gonna happen, right?
Exactly.
So MVP Black, I agree. I agree with that. Then we have Tempest versus CE.
So this one's tough.
Okay.
CE is obviously up there with Super Perfect Team and eStar as the best teams coming out of China, and they're all really close as far as fighting for that #1 spot out of China.
Yep.
Super Perfect Team finishing in the #1 spot ultimately, but and we know, and Tempest is the 3rd best team coming out of Korea, and we know that, you know, Korea is on another tier over China, similar to how EU is on another tier over NA.
Yep.
So it's like, think of it as like Team Liquid versus Gale Force. That's how I would think of this matchup right here. And you're like, well, it's pretty competitive. So it's tough to say which way this is going to go, but I'm going to lean towards Tempest, based on that fact that, you know, Korea's stiffer competition, and we haven't seen CE play at a LAN yet. Well, that's not true. They play at a LAN every week, but we haven't seen them play in an international LAN yet.
Let's do this. On Master League. So you're saying on Master League you have Tempest picked to win that match?
Yes.
Okay. I have CE picked to win that match. I think CE will actually be able to pull that off.
Really?
I do. But all right. That'll be a good one. I mean, either way, that game is going to actually be probably one of the best ones in the first round, in my opinion.
It's going to be competitive, but
yeah.
I've got Tempest winning that 2-1.
I have CE 2-1. Same way, same opposite, but same, right? It's definitely each team is dropping a map here. This is gonna come down to game 3.
Yep.
All right. Super Perfect Team face check.
I went Super Perfect Team. Where'd you go?
Same 2-0.
Yeah, same.
All right.
I mean, and so this is the same thing here. So this is like, it's major region versus minor region again.
Right.
So
right.
You've got arguably the best team coming out of China versus, you know, the best team coming from Taiwan, but a minor region. So traditionally, that says 2-0 for the major region team.
Right. All right. And then finally, because we're losing eStar, it's going to be Soul Torturers versus L5.
I've got L5 and a 2-0 stomp.
It's got to be, right? It's got to be. It's got to be. All right. With that said, did you do your Master League as the tournament happened for Western Clash?
I didn't.
Oh no!
I didn't, and shame on me. So I did the first round for Western Clash. The second, the Saturday, I was at a wedding all day, so I wasn't able to. Well, I probably could have done it from my phone.
Do your phone, man.
But I didn't.
All right,
then,
all right.
And then by Sunday came around, and I don't know. I guess I don't know if I forgot or what happened, but I didn't get it done.
Right.
Sunday,
all right.
So I've fallen behind a little bit. I looked at it. I think I'm like 200 points behind you.
Oh no, really? That was gonna be my next question because I'm in the top 100 now. I'm at a comfortable 96.
I'm at 104.
Oh, so you're not far behind me.
I'm sorry, 106.
How many points do you have?
1265.
All right, so you're only about 135 behind me. All right, I'm sitting right at 1400. So, okay, all right, and no wedding this weekend. This is your chance. This is your chance.
I'm off this weekend. No wedding. It's going to be a lot of me parked in this black office chair, but facing the other way. Watching the TV and watching some heroes.
Nice, nice. All right, so look, realistically, all right, we can't go into the whole bracket, right? Obviously, we can't. We can talk a little bit about it. So I'm just gonna pull that up real quick, actually.
We can guesstimate, right?
We can, and you know what? I'm gonna do one of our lesser known pieces. I'm gonna actually get this all up. So give me half a second, and then I'm gonna share it so we can go over it with the crowd here. So here we have the bracket. Oh, I gotta turn spoilers on. That's right. All right, so let's go into this and let's see. Oh man, you are way off, and that's okay though. I can fix that. Let me turn that off. Let me turn that. Let me hashtag production, guys. Hashtag production.
While you're doing that, I guess I can probably pull up the Liquipedia version of the bracket as well.
You're gonna have some nice bars. Let's see. I almost have this worked out. This isn't as bad as I thought. I just need to get you fixed real quick. All right, yeah. Pull up the Liquipedia version of the. Oh, actually, I think I might want the Liquipedia version of this. It might actually look better. Camera 2. Okay, let me just get you fixed up first, though. All right, there we go. I'm sorry, guys. I apologize. Normally, I have this worked out ahead of time. I wasn't actually planning on using this this view, but it looks like we're going to. So let's do this. Let me grab the Liquipedia graphic one because that's probably better than this. You know what? I spell Liquipedia wrong all the time now.
Because you spell your name.
Because I spell my name differently, so I'm always spelling liquid the wrong way.
Look at that! Soul Twitchers has a new logo. I didn't realize that.
Do they? Oh, nice. They needed to get one. That's awesome.
It's like legit looking now versus like the one that looked like something from MS Paint.
Something not so legit. All right, let's see here. All right, that's good. We can go with that. Let me just fix. All right, I promise people we are almost there. I'm just fixing one thing. Changing this to be Firefox. And we are good to
go?
Almost. I don't know. I had it, and then it just disappeared on the screen. Oh, I have to turn it on. Derp. All right. So I'm going to make it a little prettier, but you can actually start talking about it now.
Beautiful things. Do you want me to, based on the guesses we just made, kind of break down the rest of the bracket from there?
That is exactly what I was thinking we would do.
All right. I can do that. So if MVP Black beats Deadly Kittens and I pick Tempest, but you pick CE. This is the one where we
right. But either way, going into the semifinals, like
it's MVP Black versus one of them.
Right, and like let's be honest, MVP Black's winning.
Yeah,
right. There's no question there.
3-0 or 3-1 in my opinion.
Right.
So
exactly,
we can pencil an MVP Black into the winners final there, right?
Yep.
And then looking down to the other semifinals. Super Perfect Team versus L5. Now that's going to be interesting because L5 is definitely weaker than they were.
Yes.
And Super Perfect Team with their captain back is a lot stronger than the team that showed up at the midseason brawl because they have their team's at their full strength now.
Right.
So that could be more competitive, but I'm still gonna lean towards L5. They have been showing a little bit better towards the end of the the new roster seems to be gelling a little bit here. They were playing a little bit better going into this clash.
Okay.
So that's my theory. I'm gonna lean towards L5 there. I would take them and we're gonna say 3-2. I take L5 in a 3-2.
So I'm gonna disagree. I think Super Perfect Team gets through there.
You have a lot of faith in these Chinese teams.
I
like
do.
It.
I do.
I like it.
But here's the thing, right? Either way, either Super Perfect Team or L5 getting through comes up against an MVP Black who has probably blanked its last 2 opponents. And they will be riding the same momentum that Fnatic had. And I think I think MVP Black will take the winners finals at that point and move on to the grand finals. I don't think any of these teams in this bracket system are going to stop MVP Black. So even if L5 wins, let's just say L5 beats Super Perfect Team.
Yeah. No, I agree.
I think MVP Black goes through the grand finals.
I think we can cut to the chase, man. I think personally, if I'm going to make a prediction on who's winning it all, it's MVP Black, and I don't think it's close. I think the way they have been dominating the Korean HGC.
Yeah.
Is absolutely mirroring Fnatic in the EU HGC. And I think that they are S tier and everyone else is tier 2 and tier 3.
Right.
And I mentioned it to Black Magic in chat earlier before the show started. Like, I feel like they're destined to have a rematch at BlizzCon. Like when Fnatic came out of nowhere and beat MVP Black at last year's BlizzCon before they lost to L5 in the finals. I think they're destined to meet in BlizzCon, hopefully in the grand finals. So it'll be the rematch. Both teams will be just absolutely stomping everyone, and I will the hype will just be too much for me, and I will pee my pants in the stands.
Dude, I swear to God, I'm like camping out. So all right, I'm gonna go ahead. I think we covered the bracket enough, and we'll obviously we'll go through what happens next week when we do a results show. But like, I'm not joking when I say, if we get press passes at BlizzCon, that's a different story. But if we don't get press passes, I am legitimately not leaving the eSports stadium area. I'm going to stay the entire,
the Heroes stage, yes.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be hoping that they'll show some stuff on the big projector,
well, here's the thing.
But I'm not leaving.
They share it with WoW Arena, so you'll get to rekindle your love of WoW Arena at the same time.
Do they share that? I thought they had 2 different stages for that.
No. So there's a stage for Hearthstone, then WoW Arena and Heroes share a stage, and then
dude,
StarCraft used to be in the bowl, and then I didn't go to BlizzCon last year, and they built a new addition onto the Anaheim Convention Center, and I believe that's where the Overwatch World Cup will be.
Dude.
And was last year, but I believe Heroes shares the stage with WoW Arena. They just change the props up, and they do the finals for WoW Arena either in the morning, or they do it like the day before. It's a much smaller thing, and I think if I remember correctly, they do Heroes in there earlier, like the earlier part of the tournament.
Yeah.
And the WoW Arena finishes up later in the day, and then the next day is just all day Heroes.
I'm stoked. That's awesome because I love WoW Arena. I've not watched it nearly as much, so oh my God, you've made my day.
You might get both, man. You might get both.
Oh my God.
If I'm remembering correctly, I remember Spoodle and I, Spoodle's my girlfriend, we sat down and watched WoW Arena for a little bit, which was, she had no idea what was going on. And me, I was like, well, this is cool. I haven't done Arena since Wrath of the Lich King.
Right. But you can still watch and appreciate it, and then just be in the perfect position for Heroes. So that's my goal. I'm like, this is my hero spot. I'm not leaving.
Just rekindle your love for it. There you go.
That's awesome. All right. Let's jump through some amateur stuff. EU did not have an Open Division Cup last week. Their Open Division Cup is Monday, but current standings, leftovers sitting at 405. Man, those guys have come in and been real dominant since they started. Bushido getting some points again on the board this 2 weeks ago and sitting at 315. Run it down at 285 in Shezeisen. I totally said that wrong, man. I'm sorry.
Cheese Ison or something like that.
Yeah. Sitting at 140. I I need to just add that to the show notes next to that team name so I say it right every time.
Spell it out, yeah.
Right. All right. NA Open Cup just had cup number 4 this week. I was going to cast, but ended up working instead. But semifinals, we had Donkeys R Us beating Firm Handshake 2-0. And Held It Down beating Flame is Lame also 2-0. Setting up a third place match, Firm Handshake versus Flame is Lame. Flame is Lame winning that one 2-1. And then in the finals, we had Donkeys R Us losing to Held It Down 2-1. Setting them up for Donkeys R Us in number 1 at 390, Held It Down at 360, Flame is Lame at 275, and Imported Support rounding out the top 4 at 270. Now, did you watch Bloodlust at all?
I did watch a little bit of Bloodlust. I did not get to watch as much as I would have liked to, considering I bought 2 Arcane 8 t-shirts and donated to it. But I did get to watch a chunk of it, and I was impressed with how Held It Down versus the pros.
I agree. I think they are the team to watch. I'm not sure they're gonna get in. I'm not sure how I feel about this. So, I added something to a discussion topic, and I think we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna talk a little bit about it now. Okay. There was some chat in a channel on Discord that I happen to be on, where some people don't believe Open Division teams need coaches. Other people believe that Open Division teams do need coaches, and you know, it created some interesting thoughts for me as I was reading the chatter, like totally ignoring the fact that I personally think that if you want to take anything seriously, whether it's Open Division or anything else, and somebody says, you know, there are coaches available, right? And I'm not talking about mechanical coaches like how to play your class better. I'm talking about someone that's going to help you practice, right? These are the kinds of things you should be doing for practice. These are the kinds of things you should be doing for scrims. Like that type of coach, I think, is very helpful to an Open Division team. I feel like those are the things that are missing from not just Open Division teams. NA teams as a whole don't have a lot of coaches. Or just Heroes eSports teams as a whole don't have a lot of coaches. And it's not so much this is what you can do better. It's a third party to say this is what we should be doing, right? I'm not a team member. I'm not involved in this at the same level you are, but this is how we should be doing it, or what we should be doing to move forward. These are the things we need to work on, right? Here are communications drills we can do that don't even involve the game. But yeah, right? Like those kinds of things, there's a reason there's like 18 coaches on an NFL team, right? 18's not right, but you know what I mean, right?
I know
like,
what you mean. There's a lineman coach, there's a linebacker coach, there's a wide receivers coach, running backs coach, assistant coach, defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator, head coach. Yes,
right.
There's a lot of coaches.
There's a reason though, right? And there's a reason that they train with those coaches. I don't necessarily think that's gonna fix the amateur scene, but I don't think it's bad for the amateur scene. You know what I mean? So it's like that struggle is real. Like, how do you really accomplish this? Like, if I had a team, what would I need to get through Open Division? Well, I need 5 mechanically skilled players. I need to make sure that they're scrimming, and I need someone reviewing those scrims to say, these are the things you guys could do better. It doesn't necessarily have to be a player, but the problem with having a player do that, I'm gonna use our chair league team that I used to be on as an example. Mystic Shroud from the Nexus Trolls used to review our games every week, and he would do a phenomenal job saying, this is what we did right, this is what we did wrong. And nobody ever questioned his ability to look at that detached and say, this is what we did right and this is what we did wrong. But it's a little different in Open Division, and I could understand people struggling with, well, why are you telling me I did something wrong, but, you know, your write-up says you did everything right? Like, that doesn't work, right? You need that third party. And it doesn't have to be like a coach. It could just be an analyst, but somebody reviewing replays and saying, this is where you guys screwed up. This is what we need to work on. These are the things we can do to get better. You know what I mean?
No, I agree. And there's more to it than just that aspect to it, too. Like, the coach has to handle all these different personalities, and like, let's say like Bob and Jim aren't getting along. They kind of have to figure out how to smooth that out and make that work and make this whole thing gel. When it's very tough. It's very tough, or when it's just the players holding each other accountable. Or that's a good point when I say accountable. It's like, say someone doesn't show up to scrims, like someone's got to hold that player accountable. Like the other 4 guys can, I guess, vote him off the team or whatever. But like when it's a coach, it's like, hey, there can be some sort of, I don't know.
Yes, you need that outside person, right? And you don't even have to, like I said, you don't have to call it a coach. It can be an analyst. It can be a manager. You can have a different person doing all 3 of those positions. You can have a manager, a coach, and an analyst. Right? All of that works, but you, like, in order for, look, like, the counter argument is, well, not all the teams in the EU have that, right? Well, okay, that's fine. Do you guys really want to excel as an esport? And, like, do you want to be the team to beat? Then look at doing, if you're not that team right now, look at doing some of these things. Like, where's your actual weakness? Do you have a non-mechanically adept player? Well, then maybe you replace him. But chances are good, like, all 5 players are mechanically solid, right? So then you got to say, well, what's the real problem? What's holding us back? Is it we need to do a roster swap? Well, or not even a roster swap, but a position change. Well, if you think it's a position change, are you really in the right position to say you need that position change? Or is somebody who's watching from the outside that isn't, like, invested in, I want to be the shot caller now, right? The person saying we should make this change, right? Like, it's this weird, like, you need a third party, even though it's not really a third party because it's still someone that wants to see your team succeed. But I feel like after watching, like, don't get me wrong, Held It Down did good in Bloodlust. But is that going to be enough to take them into
the HGC?
Right? And that's where my struggle is. I'm like, well, look, man, if I wanted to say I'm going to get an HGC, I would do everything in my power. Like if I was an open division team, right? And maybe this is the answer for me. I keep telling my wife I want to own an esports team. Maybe the right thing for me to do is to try and get a 2018 open division team to let me sponsor them and say, here are the things I'm giving you. I'm going to be your manager. I have a dude that's going to act as your analyst. These are the conditions of me sponsoring you, right? Like, that's just the way it is. But I have an analyst. I can get us a coach. I can do these things for us. Let's see what happens with that, right? And maybe you get an HGC, maybe you don't. But it's like, it's almost like an experiment that says, okay, these are 5 mechanically gifted players. Let's see what happens when they have those things, right? What's the difference between having a coach and not having a coach? Is that why Leftovers is running all over everybody in the EU Open Division? Like, if you look at EU, there's a huge gap between number 1 and number 2. But if you look at the top 4 in NA, the gap is not that large. It's 120 points from number 4 to number 1, where it's like 85 points or 90 points from number 1 to number 2 in I think
part
EU,
of that
right?
is though is like Bushido, which was running the gamut earlier, had that like one off week that really submarined their score. I think that's part of it, but I understand what you're saying.
Right? So I don't know. Like that's my struggle, right? Like
it's tough. So the other thing you have to weigh on that is like these teams have no money, right? So like it's tough to like the players are playing because I don't know. It's hard to get a coach that I don't know can bring something else to the table that the players don't already bring, without it being a paid position, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but
most of the people that could be doing that job are probably also playing on open division teams right now.
Right.
Which is that I think that's the problem.
No, that's absolutely part of the problem, right? Like, and let's be honest, right? Like, you want your coach to be a quality coach if you're going to pick up a coach, right? And so most of those people are on open division teams right now. They're not looking to just coach. It's not like there's a plethora of coaches just sitting out there looking to coach teams, right?
And that's the other thing. Like, what's the incentive for being a coach, right? So, like, the incentive for being a player is, like, I can make the HGC.
Right.
But, like, the incentive for being a coach right now is, like, well, I can coach this team, and that'll be really fulfilling and rewarding, but, like, at the end of the day, it doesn't keep the lights on.
But that's the struggle,
no paid
right?
coaching position currently,
that's
you're
the struggle.
Part of an org.
Right. But at the same time, it's like, okay, well, you know, what do I get out of, Yeah, I mean, that's the struggle. And that's why I'm not sure maybe coach isn't right, but you can find an analyst that can use that to say, okay, well, I was an analyst for this, and I helped these guys get here. That's my resume as an analyst. Now,
yeah.
Look, Team Freedom wants a new analyst. I can put in for that job, and maybe I have a chance of getting it. I can show how my analyzing situation, like my analyst work has helped that team get to where they are. So it's not necessarily a coach, more like there are positions available that I don't think people are filling yet. For various reasons. You make a good point. What's in it for me? That's an absolutely valid point, right? So, yeah. Anyway,
right now, for anyone who does that, it's an investment of their time and
right.
hope that they get rewarded down the line for it. That's all.
Right. Well, and you work something out with the team, right? I mean, all of the open divisions have money that can be garnered, and if you win, it's like $1,000 or something like that, or maybe it's 500. I don't remember off the top of my head. But you work it out and you say, okay, well, this is off the cuff. This is strictly off the cuff for me. But I'd be looking at that saying, okay, well, if I'm going to do this, right, and I'm going to sponsor an open division team, and winning an open division is $100, well, the players are each going to get 10. The coach is going to get, 10. The analyst might get 5. The manager might get 5. And the rest of it goes into the pool to pay any expenses we have at the end of the year. Right? Like, yeah. And that's third place is $100, right? So, I mean, take it as it is. I'm definitely not saying this is how we're gonna do it. It's 600 if you win the cup, but like there's a way to approach those things, right? And yeah, okay, well, if I teach you to win the open division or open cup, like a single cup, yeah, I might only get $50 out of that. That's still $50, and if you can handle getting into HGC, well, now all of a sudden that money changes, right? So, I don't know. It's a weird situation. I get it. I just think, like, outright writing off the need for a coach is the wrong way to do it.
I agree. I think the bottom line here is, do amateur teams need coaches? Yes, every team needs a coach, right?
Yeah.
The bottom line is, are there coaches out there? And the answer to that right now is yes, but not really.
Right.
If that makes sense, right?
No,
like,
it does.
They're out there, but not really. Like the guy that coached No Tomorrow is now coaching LiQuiuD, and they had an article on the Heroes site about how he's made a big difference for them.
Right.
So they're out there. They're just far and few between.
But that's what I'm talking about, right? Like those coaches exist, and finding someone is like the important thing, I guess, is what I'm getting at. But we still have amateur stuff to cover. So the Heroes Hype Tempo Storm Season 2 did end last week. They did move it a week. Back to the 2nd so that they could accommodate the bonus cup for NA that happened, and we had imported support win that overall. They took out 101st Northumberland Fusiliers, who finished in 2nd place, which is actually a Held It Down team. I think that's the Hold It Down original team. Hold on, now I gotta go look it up. Then 3rd place Firm Handshake, 4th place Flame is Lame. All of those teams are also playing in Open Division, right? So it's not like this is new. It's not like that team was like came out of nowhere and like, you know what I mean? Like
no, they're all top tier teams that we've been seeing in the NA amateur scene for a while now.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I agree. I'm a little disappointed we didn't get to see imported support play in Bloodlust. I really would have liked that. I know Donkeys R Us was the other amateur team that made it.
Yep.
So I really like imported support. I like a lot of the players on there. I think Specialty is like a god tier ranged mage player for NA, and I would like him to I'd like to see imported support make it into the HGC if they can just kind of take that next step. I know they're not quite there yet, otherwise they would be, but yeah. I would like to see it happen.
I do have to correct myself. Hunter Enforced is not Held It Down. It is Donkeys R Us. With like a little change.
Yeah.
I think they replaced. No, it's them. They just played under. They didn't play under Donkeys R Us. They played under Hunter Enforced. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the team with Pincante, right?
Wait, that doesn't make. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, that's what they did. So they just didn't play as Donkeys R Us. They played as Hunter Enforced. Yeah. So season 3 starts. I want to say in September, maybe, of Heroes Hype Tempo Storm. So that'll be pretty good. It's a great series. It's just like Open Division, right? Like, you see a lot of the same. The Tempo Storm set, you see a lot of the same teams in Heroes Hype Tempo Storm that you see in Open Division. So check that out too. It's basically 3 days of amateur action on the week that Open Division and Heroes Hype is happening, because you watch 3 days straight and you get a great look into what's going on there. So if you want to follow the amateur scene at all, definitely make sure you're following Heroes Hype as well as Open Division, or just keep watching our show. I try to make sure you guys get enough coverage of it.
I think we do a pretty good job as far as that's concerned. It seems like there's always a ton of amateur stuff to cover every show. So
yeah, no, absolutely. All right, let's there's really only 2 topics left to discuss, which I think we're doing pretty good on time. We got about 30 minutes left. The next one may be a quick one. Can someone beat Fnatic?
Do you want the long answer or the short answer?
I want the long answer, man. I want to hear your long answer.
No.
That's the long answer? Damn.
Seriously though, maybe MVP Black. That's about it. That's all I've got for you, man. It was made clear at the Clash that no one in EU and no one in NA can touch them. And literally, I mean touch them. Like they didn't drop a game.
Do you think it's possible that at BlizzCon we'll see a cheese strategy come out so hard that it might take a game off Fnatic?
Okay, I mean, a game. Yeah, I can
think
see a game
like
through cheese. Yeah,
murky medic, backdoor the core type thing, right? Like,
yeah, I understand. I could see like some super curveball come out of the woodworks, and take a map off of them. But I don't see.
You don't see anybody beating him without the MVP Black possibly.
Straight up in a best of 5 or best of 7, the only team that I could see that competing with them right now is MVP Black. Yeah.
Okay.
That's it. That's all I got. I mean, Fnatic is known for their macro play. And that's never going to change. They are known. They brought the global thing they have perfected it. And on top of that, mechanically, they have found the discipline to kind of like, they used to be overly aggressive and like kind of like do crazy things on top of their macro play, and that got them into trouble. And now they have found, I don't know, just the right buttons to press to get the team. I don't know how better to explain it, that they're firing on all cylinders. That mechanically they're there. The macro game has always been there, and it's all clicking now.
So I Rush You Down in chat says Dignitas may be at a LAN event. In fairness, Dignitas was not at Western Clash, and Fnatic Dignitas has always been a great series. Always.
To be fair, you're right. And at the midseason brawl, it went the full 7. Dignitas beat him at the Clash. You're right. You're right. And then when they met in the winners finals at the midseason brawl, it went the full 5. You're right. Every single time at LAN, Dignitas.
Something happens to Dignitas at a LAN event, dude. I don't know what the hell it is, but it's just like click, and they're like, we're doing this.
And they made changes right before the Clash, right? So like coming out of the brawl, they made some changes. They went from JPL being their drafter and shot caller, and they switched that over to Bakery. I don't know why. We don't have that insight, but they did make that change, and there was an adjustment period. And it seems to when they 3-0 tricked there right at the end of the first half of this phase 2 of HGC. They did look stronger, so I mean, we'll see if they qualify for BlizzCon. It's going to be so competitive, man. Because even when you think about it, you're like, so if Dignitas qualifies for BlizzCon, who's not going? It's like, is LiQuid not going? Is that?
Oh, dude, no. If Dignitas gets through, so let's play that out a little bit. Actually, we have a couple minutes. Let's play that out. So if we say Fnatic Dig 100% go through to BlizzCon, my money is on LiQuid is out.
You think Expert has leapfrogged them as far as quality and team play?
I think it's really close right now, and I think by the time Phase 2 Part 2 is over, yes.
Ethereal looks good on that team. I think removing Blade and putting Ethereal in that spot has made a big difference.
I would agree.
Take the next step.
I would agree.
And Trick doesn't look bad either. It's just, oh my goodness, EU is so.
Can we just like take a moment to appreciate how short ADRD is, though? Dude, I saw like, look, I'm a short guy, so I have like no room to talk because I'm like 5'6" on a good day. But I was just like, dude, he's dwarfed by like the rest of his team. It's just like bam, bam, doop, and then it's back up again. And it's like, what? Like, I did not expect that.
How about Bad Benny trying to? He's Swedish as well, but he's not on the Fnatic roster, obviously.
Right.
But he got the Fnatic haircut to join the
Swedish boy band. Yeah. No, I saw that. I did see that. I got a laugh out of that. Look, Western Clash I actually enjoyed. Overall, I enjoyed it. I think Fnatic is in rare form. I think I Rush You Down has a good point. Dignitas, when they get in a LAN event, it's like, dude, what just happened? I think, didn't I see Team Freedom did a boot camp out there too, though?
They did. That's why they weren't able to go to Bloodlust. They boot camped a week before the Clash. So, and for what it's worth, I mean, I don't know. Actually, I don't think we mentioned it. Gale Force and Team Freedom, they struggled. NA like really came out flat in the first round of the Clash.
Yeah.
But in the subsequent rounds, they looked really good. Like Team Freedom went to full 5 with LiQuiuD, you know,
which was impressive by itself.
Yeah, Gale Force took a map off Expert and another map off LiQuiuD in both their sets against EU. So they look good. I mean, and it's kind of sad that they went out with that weird core rush thing, but they did almost beat LiQuiuD with that weird that they did. You know, I think it was literally 25% on one core to 0% on the other core in that 7-minute match on Warrior Junction.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. All right, let's jump into. Did you get a chance to read Trent's post this week?
I didn't finish reading it, but I did read it to like most of it. I'll say. I will
say.
All
right. So Trent on the show 2 weeks ago, right? I think it was 2 weeks ago. Wrote an interesting article this week. Yeah, it was Monday. Always writes interesting articles. They're very, very thought-provoking articles. To which he pointed out that there are only 2 positions in a Heroes of the Storm team. Now, I would counter that and say, based on your article, it's really 3 positions. One of those being other. Right? So, I do agree. I agree with what he said. I feel like, you know, he missed an opportunity there when he said there's only 2, because there really is 3. But he posits that it's really a support player, a warrior player, and then other. And the others can be, as long as they work well as a team and are mechanically sound, and have a good hero pool, they will fit. But you have to have a dedicated warrior, a dedicated support. If you look at Fnatic as a great example of that, you got Bahgz and Smexy, and then other, right?
Yeah, like you got Quacknix playing. You'll have Quacknix playing Gray main, or sometimes it won't be. It'll be Schwimpy. You know,
right?
I hear you.
Right. So, what do you just off the cuff? What do you think? How do you agree or disagree?
I mean, maybe I'm drinking the Trent Kool-Aid too much, but I think he's spot on when he says this. And using Roll20 as an example, where their hero pools kind of overlap heavily sometimes. For the most part, the only roles on these teams that are extreme, concrete are the tank and the healer. Like, you know that. Bahgz is going to play the tank, and he's going to play the main tank. He's going to play like someone will play the bruiser once in a while if they're running 2 warriors, right? But Bahgz is always going to be the main tank. He is going to be the meat shield. He's going to be the CC machine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Smexy is always going to play the healer. There'll be a guy that flexes onto the second healer when you run a double healer comp, but Smexy is the healer on that team. And it's the same thing and that's how it is with every team. I would say all 32 of the HGC teams. That's major region HGC teams. That's a fact. It's not even like an opinion. It's factual.
I mean, yes and no. So I want to take that a step further.
Okay.
Overall, I do agree with what you just said, right? But I think I'm going to use Nah, Roll20 is a bad example. I can't use Roll20. That doesn't work. You know what? Let's use Tempo Storm. I like Tempo Storm. Tempo Storm works for me.
Okay.
I feel, and here's where I feel like there's a problem. Tempo Storm is a great example of this because I feel like Master League is. We can all accept Master League is probably the best way to describe where you are as a role, right? So in Master League, we have June on the support, right? We have Fury. Set is the warrior still, even though we know he's not playing the main warrior anymore. Caterpillar, their flex positions play the main warrior, and Fury's playing the solo laner now.
Yeah, they changed that up.
They did. But then both Cawthon and Psalm are both listed as assassins. So, to me, you know, if you want to go strictly by like what Trent's saying, right? You have a warrior and a support, and then you have 3 flexes, right? When you pigeonhole somebody into an assassin role, even though they're probably more likely playing assassin, we don't see a whole lot of specialists, right? You're still saying you are an assassin, right? So if I look strictly at Tempo's current roster as reported by Master League, Cattle is the off healer. Well, we know that's not the true we know that's not true anymore. So that means Psalm or Cawthon have to be Tassadar, neither of which is an assassin. So like in just trying to build this whole I can look at a team and I can say, all right, this is always going to be the way they play. This is going to help me learn how the pro scene looks. Like, I feel like you have to fix some of those things. You know what I mean? Or am I wrong? Like, what do you think? Am I wrong?
Well, I guess if you take a step back,
yep,
and you say if you don't pigeonhole, say you don't pigeonhole the player to the role, you can pigeonhole the role in a match.
Right.
So what I mean by that is there's always going to be a healer in a match, right? For each team. There's always going to be at least one main tank in a match on the team, right? Unless like something crazy happens in that like 99.9% of the time there's going to be a warrior, unless you get like a crazy comp where eStar runs Illidan as their warrior and then they'll run a true warrior.
Right.
There's always going to be at least, there might not always be, I guess using Tempo is a good example where Caterpillar and Fury are kind of like waffling around with that right now.
Right.
But there's always going to at least be one main warrior on a team like that. It's just, I guess that's the only other way I would spin it.
And as for those of you that are listening and not online, I rush you down in chat. Just correct me. There was a game in Clash when there was only a single warrior. Fury did play the single warrior, which is right. And actually, those games actually made me happy because I prefer Fury on the main tank warrior. Right? Like that's just what I prefer.
It was frustrating to see it when they were running comps where Fury was on the Chen and Cattle was on like on the Nubarak, and you're like,
right?
What?
Yeah. Well, like, why is this a thing? But I think it's an interesting concept. I think there's room for them to expand on that. Like, these are the two classes, or these are the two roles we're gonna dictate. Everything else is gonna be we'll fill the draft, right? And maybe get some more overlapping hero pools. Maybe that'll help them, you know, be capable of doing a little bit more. I do have to say though, I just pulled up because I was looking at Fnatic too. Man, those guys have cleared like 200K since May in winnings.
Oh my
God. Like, dude, what? Like, yeah, they've cleared 200K in winnings since May. So that guys are doing good right now, man. Jesus. All right.
Yeah. First.
Right? Like,
second.
You can see where they turned the corner right after King of the Storm going into phase 1 part 2, and that was it, you know. So all right, I think, do you have anything else you want to add to that or anything you want to bring up?
No.
Okay. So I think we're going to end there. You're going next week is Yankees Mets, right?
Baseball game, yes.
You can't miss that game, right? Like, I totally get that, right? That'd be like living in Chicago and skipping Cubs White Sox. Like, who does that? right?
There you go. So I don't have my schedule in front of me, but after that, I think I'm in the clear for a while.
You are. So next week Bacon will be back, but then hopefully we're hoping that starting the 23rd it will be all three of us. So hopefully that works out.
That would be awesome.
Yes.
I love listening to the show when it's you and Bacon, and last week I'm mowing the lawn and I'm listening to you guys talk. I'm like, I wish I was there.
Right?
There's something I wanted to
like this is a perfect thing.
I wanted to chime in here, but
yeah.
I can't because I'm just listening.
Right. So hopefully next week it'll be the three of us, or not next week. I'm sorry, the week after. Next week we'll go over Eastern Clash. The week after is actually going to be a light news week because the 18th, 19th is Eastern Clash. The 25th, 26th is actually a bye week for all the teams. I still don't understand why Midseason Brawl got no bye week, but the Clash gets a bye week. I just don't understand. Blizzard, why?
For the audio listeners, I'm shaking my head right now.
I legitimately hope we get media passes so that I can talk to somebody about that. I just want to understand that. We'll talk about all sorts of stuff. That's like my number one question. When we talk to if we get like MilkFad or someone else, I'm gonna be like, yo, can you please explain to me why there's a bye week every time there's an Eastern Western Clash, but you had the mid-season brawl and you're like, nope, teams are going right back to playing. Why was that a thing?
Craziness, absolute craziness. I think what it had to do, and I could be wrong.
Yep.
Is they had to build the schedule around these events. So they had to DreamHack was mid-season brawl. So they had to build it around that event. BlizzCon, these dates are set in stone. So they have to build a season around these schedules, right? Around these dates.
Yeah.
So
I'm with you.
Schedule around that. But that being said, they should have been able to make it work.
You lose the bye week around the Clash, right? That's the way you do it. You say
prioritize it differently. I agree.
Because then if you do it that way, when the Western Clash is happening, the Eastern Clash automatically gets its bye week. When the Eastern Clash is happening, the Western Clash gets its bye week, and then you're all back to playing, and you're done. Why?
And it gives these teams that got Roll20, for example. They got Goku, and they're like, all right, we were playing with Yoda last week. This week we're playing with Goku.
Right, let's do it.
No time for chemistry. Let's do it.
Yeah. So, yep. All right. Definitely questions to be asked, man. Questions to be asked. But with all that said, thank you all for listening to Trollin HGC, a weekly podcast about Heroes of the Storm eSports, a member of the Trolls.gg podcast network. We stream live on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/TrollsGG, every week on Wednesdays following the Nexus Trolls, starting at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, 6:30 p.m. Pacific. Bahgz, where can people find you?
People can follow me on Twitter at powerup_Bahgz. They can also watch me stream irregularly on twitch.tv/Bahgz. I've been working on that, kind of fleshing that out. I actually have an overlay now. It's kind of cool. It's getting there.
Nice.
Getting there, people. But that's where people can follow me.
All right. And you can follow me at LiQuidGG, LiQiuDGG. Twitter is the best place to follow me, but I will be casting a game tomorrow night for Chair League at twitch.tv/LiQuidGG. That's LiQiuDGG. Twitter, always the best place because I tweet when I'm going live, and that just makes it a little bit easier for you. But you can also follow me or sub to me on Twitch. Yeah, thank you to all of our Patreon supporters. If you like the show and you're looking for a way to support us, you can do so at patreon.com/TrollsGG. You can also subscribe or cheer us in Twitch. We take bits. We take subscriber money, too. All of the money we get from Patreon, from Twitter, from Twitch, all of that is going into buying swag to give away at BlizzCon. Probably be the same thing next year. Occasionally, we will use the money. We bought Mystic a microphone towards the beginning. We pay for the little bit of hosting that we need to pay for out of that, but everything else goes straight into swag. We are not looking to make a buck, so if you want to support us, head over to patreon.com/TrollsGG. You can subscribe to our show on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, or wherever you happen to find your podcasts online. You can visit our website, www.trolls.gg, to watch this and past shows along with past video streams, which can also be found on our YouTube channel. If you want to hang out with us and the Trolls community in-game, just type /join /TrollsGG in-game, or you can join our Discord at trolls.gg/Discord. For announcements about the show and Heroes of the Storm eSports news, I always mess that up. Follow us on Twitter at Trollin HGC. Bahgz and I both retweet esports news with that account all the time. We also send out tweets on our own using that account, so definitely give that a follow. Finally, if you need to get in touch with us, hit us up on Twitter at Trollin HGC. DMs are open, or email us, trollin@trolls.gg. Thank you to all the people in Twitch that watched us live, and thank you to all you listeners and viewers out there. Have a great night.
Peace out.